Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently thinking about sending a satellite to Moho. We don't have a contract for it, it's just something we want to do. So, we do have 670 science to spend. So what are we going to need to get there? Well, nuclear propulsion wouldn't be the worst. Another decent option would be high power electrics. I mean, we don't need bigger solar arrays, but a thermal control system might not be awful. A relay antenna might not be awful. Seismic accelerometer would be nice to do a few things. We would need to be settled on a firm surface, so we wouldn't include that in our probe for sure. This is specifically intended for deep space probes, whereas this one has a... what's the range on this one? Via versus L3, 61.2 gigameters. Same thing, 5.48, 27.4. Okay, so this is a relay and this is a direct. That's the only difference. We want to be using a relay antenna probably. So let's go ahead and research that one. We'll grab that. And I think we're going to go ahead and grab the mobile processing lab. We're not going to use it immediately. And we might as well grab, maybe actuators? No, precision propulsion. We'll grab that. So where is... I'm not exactly sure where in this tree the ion propulsion system is. It wouldn't be out here. If anything, I would expect it to be in this probe tech stuff. Rendezvous and docking. Remote guidance unit. That's a better relay antenna. RTGs. Ion propulsion. Here it is. Okay. This is actually not too bad. We're pretty close to that. We're not going to need it immediately. And ion propulsion is really, really slow. Great thrust to weight for that, though. I mean, not thrust to weight. Great efficiency. So, first things first, we need to get some heat protection on this thing. For sure. And I think on this fuel tank would be a good place to do it. Maybe some small radiator panels. Something like here and here. Ish. I think we move that over this way slightly. Now I'm OCD and I want to move it down. There. Hopefully that'll be enough. Hopefully. And now let's go ahead and get our higher level relay antenna on here rather than the RA2. We're going to put on the RA15. There we go. Do we have any better solar panels? No. I am kind of considering putting some backup, not that big of backup photovoltaic panels, but some small backup panels, like, well, probably not like that, bicoupled over here. Just in case something happens to our bigger ones. Like they overheat or something. That would suck. And then single coupled here. We don't really want to cover up our thermometer. We can go ahead and lower these. These should be bicoupled. Yeah, something like that-ish. Hopefully, these radiators will be able to actively cool this sufficiently. Let's go ahead and check how much cooling capacity they have. They cool only nearby parts. Yeah. I'm not sure if these count as nearby. I would imagine they would. This thing's pretty small. Core heat transfer 50 kilowatts. Electric charge 1.5 per minute. So how much do our photovoltaic panels actually generate? 1.6 per second. That's plenty. Absolutely plenty. Okay. cools up to 4x part temperature. Okay. Hopefully that'll be enough. I mean, it'll be hot there. There's no doubt about that. But, I mean, this probe is kind of expendable. This is primarily a thing to see just how founded my fears are. Now then, I want to ditch this fuel tank. Or rather, this entire assembly system. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to save this as the odd one Mark III. Save. And now we are going to move in the Snedgus Mark V. I mean, actually we're not. We're going to open up, we're going to not save this. We're going to fully open up the Snedgus Mark V lander. Like so. And then we are going to go ahead and move in, well, how do we actually want to do this? Let's merge in the odd one Mark III. Like so. Okay. And now we want to grab up to this decoupler. We did not grab the heat shield. We want to ditch this. And now the question is, how exactly do we pull this off? Because we can put in a new probodobodyne. But how do we reroute this to be... We don't want the photovoltaic panel. We want the probodobodyne octo. Well, I suppose we could do something like this, where we place this... We'd need to reroute it. Like that. Like so. And then we reroute this, I think. Set the octo as the new route. And then ditch that. Hey! Success! Okay, so Airstream Protective Shell here. Yep. This should have no problem lifting this. In fact, it's kind of hilarious looking. This thing has a lot of delta V. Just a silly amount of delta V. I think we do keep the monopropellant tanks, but we're going to move them... Actually, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave them where they are. But we are going to take them off for now. Because I want to upgrade this to be just absolutely overkill. We should have the weight to be able to do this, I think. To put a Jumbo 64 here. I mean, we do. This is very, very silly. And then we're going to go ahead and put on monopropellant there. And we're going to put on RCS thruster blocks there. This is exceptionally silly. And our thrust to weights aren't amazing. These are Reliance currently. I mean, the whole thing is silly looking. We're not going to save this as the Mark V lander. We are going to save this as the odd one Mark III, which already exists. Confirm. Just want to check that we didn't accidentally overwrite the lander. Good, we did not. Okay. So, yeah. This may or may not get there. Let's see here. I need to look up a Delta V map real fast to see if that'll get there. And there's the Delta V map. Let's just peruse this real fast. I mean, it looks like it'll get there. Kind of barely. But it looks like it'll get there. Let's check our staging. That's fine. Fairing is fine. That decoupler... Where is that decoupler? So we've got a decoupler there. And we've got a decoupler here. For the fairing. Okay. Let's... Let's ditch this decoupler. We shouldn't need that. And then we've got this liquid fuel engine here. Why do we have a liquid fuel engine here? We shouldn't need that. We'll go ahead and ditch that. Good thing we checked our staging. Okay. Are we going to need any radiators on this stage? I don't know. This whole thing is experimental. So, I guess we will, I guess we'll find out. However, let's see here. That's good. Those pop off. Those all fire at once. Yeah, that seems fine. That cut our costs a little bit. Yeah, that seems okay. I mean, we don't have a huge amount of thrust to weight. But once we get up into orbit, we have a huge amount of... we do have a huge amount of thrust to weight. Huge amount of delta V. Okay. Let's do a simulation launch. If this gets into orbit, then we'll be fine. If not, we'll make a couple of tweaks. This is a new-ish design based on our Snedgus Mark V Heavy launcher. So, we're just going to go ahead and do an equatorial orbit, standard orbit, 100 kilometers. Let's see how this goes. This thing is kind of funny looking. We'll get our delta V stats over here. Yeah, we don't have a huge amount of thrust to weight, that's for sure. We may be bombing the KSC due to our low amount of thrust to weight. Maybe we should go up to quad-coupled boosters. They would burn out at roughly the same time. This thing is kind of waggling all over the place. It would give us a little bit more control as well if we had quad-coupled boosters. However, it would also, because of the pitch, be more likely to take out our main engine when we decoupled. It's something we can think about. But I think for right now, we're okay. We'll just keep going and see how this actually goes. I'm not sure. Looks like we didn't bomb the KSC. That's good. I'm not sure exactly how high up this is going to get. It should be close-ish to getting into orbit from this stage. We're probably going to have to dip into this stage a little bit in order to finalize our orbit, but we're getting up there, at least. Our time to apoapsis is currently increasing. We still have another minute of burn here, another 1300 delta V, and our thrust to weight ratio is going up markedly, which is good. We definitely want to be in vacuum by the time we get up there and are using this stage. Plus we have another roughly 2000 delta V up inside the fairing. So I think we're going to be okay. Hopefully we don't have too many overheat effects, but that's why we're doing an unmanned probe first. Did that thing safely land? That would be funny. I guess we're SpaceX now. That would just be completely bizarre. So yeah, this isn't going to get us even anywhere close to orbit from this. We're almost burned out right now. But we are punching through the thickest parts of the atmosphere. We're pretty close to our full efficiency on this stage. So I think we're actually good. Our thrust to weight ratio isn't amazing with this stage, but we at least made it into the upper atmosphere. Yeah, we're going to burn off a fair amount of our delta V here. Not ideal. We might want to consider upsizing our side boosters at least, if we're going to be going for more interplanetary stuff. Yeah, our apoapsis is not currently super high. It is going up, and our orbital velocity is actually pretty high. Our altitude just is not where I'd like to see it be. We're not even currently to our current apoapsis height, which is pretty unfortunate, and we're burning this stage quite heavily. Let's go ahead and revert this. Back to vehicle assembly. And let's just upsize our side boosters. These are currently Reliants, so we can bring these off. Let's go ahead and have them be a bit more standoffish, in that we're going to use these radial decouplers to give ourselves a bit more space. Right about here should be good. Oh, it did not bicouple that. There we go. That's bicoupled. And now let's slap on here a pair of Jumbo 64s. First here, then a second. Now this is going to be a little awkward, to be sure, but this is a whole lot more fuel. And theoretically, if we use skippers, I think, are the ones that we're going to want to use. Let's see here. ASL thrust of 568 kilonewtons versus mainsails. No, mainsails are a whole lot more powerful. Kodiaks are weaker. We want essentially our most powerful engine in this size range, which looks like it's going to be a mainsail, which is actually convenient because it has gimbaling. Yeah, I think our best one that we've got is the mainsail. So we're going to go ahead and slap on a mainsail onto those. That'll be pretty great. And let's go ahead and grab this, lower this down so that they're closer together in terms of resting on the ground. That'll be good enough. Okay. Those are there. These are here. Sounds good. Okay. We now need to get some fuel ducts going from the outside to the inside. There we go. Now what is going on with this staging? Like, what is this? I'm a little confused. However, that should be fine. We're going to need some aerodynamic nose cones. These are the size that we're aiming for. And we definitely need some struts to stop the waggling out here. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And we're going to set up another pair of struts down here. That will also be just fine. And I think we're not going to need outside fins like this since we're using gimbaled engines. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. This is a lot more expensive, don't get me wrong. But look at that delta V change. More importantly, look at that thrust to weight ratio. Much, much better. Okay. Relatively good there. And let's go ahead and slap a strut right like that, just to make sure we're absolutely firm. That'll be good. This should be extreme amounts of overkill, theoretically. Let's double check our staging. Let's see, that all looks good. Let's try this out. So theoretically, we should be able to get into orbit here much, much faster with that thrust to weight ratio, and we have a lot more delta V once we get there. Now, according to the Delta V map that I just looked at, in order to get to Moho, we need about a total of 8390. And we currently have 11483 vacuum Delta V. So, hopefully that'll be plenty. And let's go ahead and launch this, shall we? Oh yeah, look at that. Much better thrust to weight. We were putting just too much energy with our previous build into fighting gravity. So, I like this a lot. Okay, we are pitching over this way. We're also spinning a lot less, I'm noticing. Well, now the spinning is picking up. We're trying to roll in some capacity, because MechJeb likes to do that. But yeah, our thrust to weight is just much, much, much better. It doesn't seem to be wanting to roll this way, but, well, it's maybe trying, but not succeeding much. We'll see if we end up destroying our main stack with our decoupling here in 25 seconds. If we do, well, we'll have to switch the side it's on. If not, we should probably switch the side it's on after this flight. But our apoapsis is already basically up to where we were when we were burning this stage last time. I mean, our apoapsis was like 60k, but we're doing much better in terms of our thrust to weight. Okay, time to find out. Ooh. It impacted, but we're fine. That's what I like to see. Not really. So yeah, we definitely need to change that. It luckily didn't destroy anything, but it could have been very bad. It could have been very, very, very bad. So our thrust to weight in this stage is a bit lower, but it's not too bad. And this, I think, will actually be a single stage to orbit, if you don't count the boosters as a separate stage. So yeah, we have just tons of Delta V, theoretically. Okay, we should ditch our fairing right now. Fairing is gone. That'll boost our thrust to weight slightly. Not very much. Moho! I don't know where you are exactly, but you're in this vicinity. We're coming for you. I don't know exactly where it is. I also don't know exactly what our inclination that we're going for is, but first things first, we need to escape the orbit of Kerbal. Well, first things first, we need to get into orbit of Kerbal. And then we need to escape it. So that should be exciting. But that's something, I think, for next episode. We're going to keep working on our orbit here for another couple of minutes, well, a minute and a half or so, and then I'm going to put that cut in. And next episode, we will be heading off to Moho, which will be exciting. Like I said, I've never ever been to Moho before, but I like the idea of working from the inside out. It isn't exactly easier that way, but I still like it. So we have RCS on here, but we're actually turning at a decent rate, all things considered. This is acceptable. It'd be a lot faster if I turned on RCS, don't get me wrong, which I did just then. And now I turned it off again, because it doesn't actually seem to increase it appreciably at all. Okay, once we get over here, I'm going to go ahead and warp up to get rid of our rotational velocity. And then we're going to need to burn for 200 meters per second. So yeah, this is definitely single stage to orbit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and kill our velocity right there. And now we're going to head on over. Turn on RCS real fast. And turn it back off. And warp back up. And now MechJeb thinks that's close enough. Excellent. I agree, MechJeb. And we are off to Moho. This may fail horribly. I don't know what kind of... I don't know if our thermal precautions are enough or not. But that's fine. Any way you slice it, we're going to get some good information here. Also, MechJeb, burn. Burn, MechJeb, burn. There you go. Sheesh, MechJeb didn't want to burn there. I mean, that's one of the problems with the very slow rotation like this. But it's fine. And we burned a little late, so our periapsis is a little low, but that's also fine. Then our apoapsis is a little high, which again is just fine. So, first things first, I think we need to escape the orbit of Kerbal, but that's something for next episode. See you all next time.